It's Mississippi Outdoors Radio here on Super Talk Mississippi. And joining us in studio, we have Conservation Officer Major Chris Reed. How you doing, sir?
I am doing well. Trying to rig this mic up, get it. Well, who was in here before me, but they had the volume all jacked up on this headphones and this microphones all. I'll just quit complaining. I'm glad to be here, Dave.
We can tell.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you for that. And we have broken the
High
glass.
company in here today with us.
Broken the glass on the emergency box on the wall and got the backup wildlife biologist in here.
Yeah, that's how we are in high company.
Probably more like you broke through the floor and pulled somebody out of there. That's probably what it
Russ
is.
Walsh
With a restroom stall and
joined
the
us.
janitor.
How are you today?
I'm
Clean
doing
it
well.
up.
Good to be here.
Does he even know what he has agreed to walk into?
Russ is he is a veteran of this microphone. He's been here many a time explaining the devilish details of certain things and this and that. Yeah, hot button issues. Gentleman Russ comes to give the people a voice of calm and reassurance.
But today I just get to do the intro segment. So
Yeah, 'cause old Butler's
it's a
not
smooth
here.
sailing day for me. So.
Butler's not here. We don't know
That's
where
right.
he is.
Yeah, he wandered up somewhere.
He's
doing
probably
something.
turkey hunting or something.
I wasn't going to say that.
Yeah, well, we
But-
always accuse him of it, so somebody's got to hold
Yeah.
his feet to the fire.
I was thinking it anyway. Russ, it's good to have you, though, man.
Hey, good to be here.
Good to
Thanks a
have
lot.
you in here.
Absolutely.
And we got a lot of stuff to get to today, a lot of things to talk about. A little bit later on, we're going to be talking about some really cool youth classes at the Museum of Natural Science. We'll be talking about next.
Yeah,
But-
the museum has great stuff going on, so good to hear folks talk about that stuff today.
Yeah, and they always have great stuff going on. They really do. Now, the duck drawings, we've been talking about those for the WMAs for a couple of weeks now, and we're kind of getting to the end of that, aren't we?
Yeah, so things changed this year for Wma Duck Drawings, and so they closed last week, and so the drawings are taking place. We hope to have the notifications out this week for the first round of draws. So for those of you that entered, please be looking at your emails later this week. And just remember that if you did get drawn, you have 48 hours to confirm your hunt. So be watching your emails, be paying attention, and you can confirm that hunt. And then for those that do not get confirmed, we'll go in for another drawing. That'll take place likely next week. So all of those of you that are greatly anticipating duck season, please be watching your email for this week.
Now, of course, and we've talked about this the last couple of weeks as well, that refill draw that we'll have afterwards, not quite as extensive as it has been in previous years, right?
Right. So what will happen this year if you get drawn in the first round? If those hunts do not get confirmed, then we'll go back in for the refill drawing. And if you get drawn in the second round, again, you have 48 hours to confirm your hunt. And this year, because of COVID and because of things the way they are, we're not going to have standby hunts on as many WMAs as we have in the past. This year, it's going to be for Mahana, Howard Miller, and Muscadine Farms. Those are the only WMAs that will have standby opportunity, and even standby opportunity is going to be greatly streamlined compared to years past. So you still have the opportunity to show up on the morning of the hunts for those three WMAs and have an opportunity for any slots where people do not show up, those open slots, you may still have an opportunity to draw a hunt there. So still, even past this draw period here, there may still be some opportunity for the big three in the Delta.
But it's going to be very limited.
It won't be as the hunters that participate on those management areas are used to in years past. But another item of interest, and I think people are probably well aware of it, but when they get their notification of being drawn on a WMA, well, at that point they'll be notified of the unit that they'll be hunting. Won't we do that with the email?
That's right. So the changes this year, you'll know your date, and you'll know obviously you'll know your WMA and your date and your unit.
Yeah.
And
there's no point in calling and burning the phones up.
That's it.
Saying, I don't want this unit. I've hunted here. I want this unit.
Right. But what we
Done.
hope is that it's a great opportunity for folks, particularly that may not have hunted these WMAs before, you know where you're going, or you know what unit you want to go to. So if you want to scout ahead of time or try to get some intel about that unit ahead of time, this is going to be a great opportunity for you to do that instead of just showing up the day of the hunt and kind of hoping for the best.
And I guess those units, like on Phil Bryant, they'll be drawn too.
Yeah. So
in those days, I'm just kind of, I know you're well prepared and you know all this stuff backwards and forwards, but isn't there a certain date on Phil Bryant that's a little different than other in regards to scouting? Isn't there a date set there? Where
so there's some specific days where you can scout on Phil Bryant and Mahana. But for the Phil Bryant unit that is drawn with Mahana, that's all timber units.
Okay.
And so, yes, you can go scouting on certain days there. Out because we have deer season going on, small game season going on, waterfowl season going on. So make sure you check the regs on the days that you can go scout. But also, we're talking a lot about draw hunts. Want to remind hunters that we have plenty of WMAs that do not have draw hunts. Yeah. And so there's plenty of opportunity for open waterfowl hunting. So if you're a waterfowl hunter and you don't get drawn, don't be discouraged. We still have a tremendous amount of opportunity on WMAs for you to go and find a place to shoot a duck. So,
Dave, a lot of times you'll check and people will show up to a management area maybe on a day, like the units, the management areas that are not exclusively draw hunt only, you can hunt, as you desire, but there are certain days that waterfowl hunting is allowed. So it may be Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday, for instance, or whatever the case. So if you're basically what I was kind of getting at, so I can land this plane, is check the regs. Right. Every man, we get so many calls this time of year about people, just there are general WMA regs that cover everything, but each management area, how many do we have?
55.
There's 55 different area-specific regulations, dealing with days you can scout, days that are open for waterfowl hunting. So you need to check those before you go hunting that specific management area. And,
it's something we've talked about before. We get questions in on the C Spire text line. Every situation is different. This is another example of that. There is no blanket rule that you can go by. Well, somebody told me that it was okay. Right. No,
generally you don't need to listen to those people.
Yeah, and look, all of those regs are online on our website, so you can go read every one of them.
Maps, unit maps, interactive maps, aerials. There's a wealth of information on the website.
Anything about WMAs is right there for you.
But I think probably the most important thing in regards to the draws, check your email.
That's right. Check your email.
That's the big one.
Or you will miss your draw hunt opportunity if you're drawn and you don't confirm it.
Because they have, 48 hours?
That's right.
After they get the notification to confirm it, or it's going to go to somebody else.
It's going to go back in the pool. That's right.
And then you're going to feel really bad. So, check your email. Don't blow this for yourself. Talking about things being online, Hunter's Ed still online, right?
Yeah, that's something new that we've done this year, kind of utilizing the technology that is at our fingertips. And 12 years and older, full online certification. The firearms portion of it, is obviously not mandated. So you can do that if you're needing to get a course. We're getting some of those calls now too. I need to take a course. I need to do this. Well, we're not having in-person classes, for the rest of 2020. And we are doing it online now, and so you can do that. You can get it the whole full meal deal. It's around $25, I think, is the price for that course. It's outsourced through a third party that does all that good stuff. It's not money that goes to our agency. It's to the entity there. But that's something that kids have to have. If you're 16, you got to have a hunter ed to be able to get a hunting license. And so check that out. It's on the website. Yeah. Click some links and follow it.
And once you complete that course, you have a electronic, or you can get a card. You take that to the license vendor wherever you're going to buy your license, and you present that and you get your license. So.
We'll talk about CWD stuff later on in the show. We'll loop back around to that because we're up against the break. But I did want to mention Holmes County State Park's going to get a little dry here, isn't it?
That's right. They're going to start draining today, so all of the The creel limits and all that has gone out the window. So if you want to go up there and fish and take some fish home with you, rod and reel only, but go up there right now and catch some fish, and you can take home a cooler or two full. So
Nothing wrong with that.
that's right.
Get it.
That's very good. From the C Spire text line, Richard from Wiggins talking about the duck hunts. Do y'all provide the person to do the duck calling?
No, we don't. We should.
I'll be glad to call for you, but it'll be the last time you invite me more than
Right.
likely. So.
We can't guarantee success.
I just have this mental image now of Russ standing in a field with no caller whatsoever, just standing there going, quack, quack, quack.
You didn't ask me
Yeah, he didn't.
exactly how good I was. You
Right.
just asked me to
You
go
just
with
need
you.
somebody.
That's a very good point. We're going to talk about the Mississippi Museum of Natural Science when we return on Mississippi Outdoors Radio next. Welcome back, Mississippi Outdoors Radio. Dave Hughes here, and now taking the seats here in the studio, we have from the Mississippi Museum of Natural Science, the person I will refer to for the rest of the program as the Penguin Lady, Andrea Falsetto. How are you?
Good.
She's got a beautiful shirt with penguins on. And now I'm going to make her feel even worse because I'm going to call attention to the fact that you can see it for yourself at supertalk.fm/watch on Supertalk TV. You're welcome. Also joining us from the museum, Corey Wright. How are you today?
I'm pretty good.
We were having a comic book discussion before the break ended. I want to go back to break so we can continue this now because I was having fun, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. You guys have something really cool starting up for the youth, right, Andrea?
Yes, it's for youth with disabilities. We've partnered with the Mississippi Coalition for Citizens with Disabilities to offer this program. Corey has been partnering with them in the past. He helped design a picnic called Born to Be Wild, which is one of their annual fundraisers, and they started hosting it at the museum where Corey worked to get some of our law enforcement officers over. We were doing archery, a lot of different events just on that day, and we decided to expand the program into a 7-class series where they could come throughout the year and really dive deep into archery and canoeing and fishing. We already had one class, which was wildlife and plant ID, and so Corey taught them how to identify some of the common wildlife. We went on a walk through our garden and were able to look at different plants. So far it's been a really good program, but we still have spots.
Well, Corey, I'm just going to say I probably need to come take this class because my wife and I bought a book about a year ago at a bookstore to help us identify the trees because a lot of them, I know them on sight, but that and poison oak and poison ivy, which you definitely need to be able to identify. And do you cover that?
We cover that. We've covered that. We also cover other things like wildlife identification. As far as wildlife identification, we work on native and mostly native, some non-native, but native flora and fauna, plants and animals. So the first one was October 11th, and we worked on mammal identification, whether it was a herbivore, carnivore, an omnivore. They actually got to tour research, see the research and how we incorporate things in science and nature. And most of the event is outdoors if it's weather permitted, but it's fun. I love doing that event.
Now, from what I understand, you kind of got this whole thing started a few years ago, right? In a way.
Yes, sir, I did. My heart is into education, and I love doing what I do because I get to play every day, so it's fun. But with people with disabilities, sometimes they don't get that opportunity to actually go out and do certain things, and we take that for granted. And that's always been where my heart has been. So we developed with the Mississippi Coalition this event, and it has taken off thus far.
Well, and I think you bring up a real good point because some of these children that have disabilities, we think about just going out and taking a walk through the woods. No big deal. We're just killing a few minutes. For them, that's an event. That's a big deal.
It is. And you see it when actually you're doing the event. It's so cool because archery is a good example. We take so much for granted in this world, and something as simple as hitting a target that's meaningful to a lot of people, because that's a once in a lifetime thing to do. And like I said before, we sometimes take things for granted, and just even seeing an alligator, a small little alligator, I see them all the time, or I handle them all the time. And for one person, that may be their once in a lifetime chance of ever coming in contact with one, and they get to see that.
Andrea, he hates his job, you can tell.
I can tell. But I'd say if I hit an archery target, that's pretty special to me, too.
I've told the story on the air before when we were talking archery a couple of months back. When I got my first little bow and arrow, my dad took me and I shot and was nowhere close. But me being me, and I was a kid, I turned around and said, "Well, how was that?" He said, "It looked like a Volkswagen on an icy road. Try again, son." Because the arrow was just all the way down. So, yeah, it is a big event and it's an accomplishment. And it's great that you have this program to where you can focus on these kind of things and give some of these kids an accomplishment that without this program, they're never going to have.
Right. We're really excited for next month where we are taking them canoeing at Pelahatchie Shore Park. Pelahatchie Shore Park already has an accessible ramp where it is easier to load into a canoe or kayak. There's a platform that we can be standing on to help get them into the water, handles on the way down into it. So this will be the first time we've taken our canoes off-site, but we're really excited because that space is going to suit us better than trying to do it just from the shore at one of our state parks, since the ramp has been built for this purpose.
And I would assume, going back to what you said a second ago, Corey, about some of these things, just to walk in the woods, a lot of these kids, this will be their first and maybe only opportunity to get in a canoe. I mean, that's going to be a big event.
Right. And even for some of them that come with their parents or a buddy, their buddies are going to have to get in the canoe with them, which Corey and I will probably have fun with that, to see how many of the adults are more nervous than the kids to get in with them.
Yeah, usually it's the adults that are a lot more nervous than the kids. The kids are ready to jump in and go, but the adults are very hesitant.
Yeah, they're excited, but the adults are like, I don't know about this. I can see that. That makes perfect sense. Now, I'm not going to ask Corey about this because, well, I want you to brag on him. Corey got an award.
He did. In 2017, which was the first year we hosted the Born to be Wild picnic, the Mississippi Center for or Coalition for Citizens with Disabilities gave Corey the Torchbearer Award that year. They pick a handful of people each year and honored him at their fundraiser banquet.
That is fantastic, man.
Yeah, it's a blessing.
Congratulations, and well earned, because it's just like you said. There are so many things that we tend to take for granted just going through our day-to-day activities. We have to have people like you that will bring attention to some of the folks that, you know, this is not just a normal day for them. This is not just a normal thing for them that they could have any other time in any other place. This program is providing something very special to these kids, it sounds like.
It has, and with this year, due to COVID, we adapted the event, and now we can branch off, and we've made it an even bigger event where we can take time and individually work with each set month through the months, and then have one big event at the end. So I think everything happens for a reason, but it's happening for a good reason.
Well, in this particular case, you know, the pandemic might be a little bit of a positive here because they're getting a little more one-on-one direct time here, I would think.
Right. We had some participants in October where our event was the first time they had been out of their house or in public around other children since March. And we do want to stress we're doing everything outdoors. It's all very COVID safe. We're wearing masks, doing everything outdoors as much as possible. We said the weather might, you know, we might have to switch schedules. Obviously, you can't canoe in the rain, or it's not very much fun if you do. But we really are trying to be conscious of that, keep everything outdoors, keep everything safe. It's a small group. And so we want anyone that thinks that their child might want to participate to go ahead and sign up, because it really is a good opportunity. And they can stay for 5 minutes and then get frustrated and leave. We're okay with that. We'd rather them come try than to not sign up at all because they don't think that they're capable.
You never know till you try, and sometimes that can be a lesson in and of itself for them.
Right.
You know, whether you want to do it, whether or not you finish it, at least try.
Right.
Put the effort in, and that to me is a big part of this. Because, Corey, I think this is going to open some doors for kids.
I hope it does. And with nature, we're like a hidden jewel at the Natural Science Museum. I mean, we're the most known unknown, and we do a variety of educational programs catered to meeting the framework of each grade, but this helps build opportunities with the family as well by doing this, because the parents love to stay and they get into it. We dissected owl pellets in the first one, and some of the parents were so into it versus the kids. They were like, they were finding bones and they wanted more owl pellets to dissect.
Oh, that is perfect. Well, we're going to take a break. Now, owl pellets. What do you mean when you say owl pellets?
Owl pellets are owls cannot digest fur or bone, so they regurgitate it, and it's in a ball. And
so owl poop.
No, it's not feces or scat. It's not poop.
Okay,
it's like a hairball, basically. Essentially, that's what it is. It's a hairball with bones in it.
But that does not sound much more appetizing, I'm going to be honest, but it does still sound fascinating. We're talking with Andrea Falsetto and Corey Wright from the Mississippi Museum of Natural Science, and we'll continue that on Mississippi Outdoors Radio coming up next. Welcome back, Mississippi Outdoors Radio, and it's time for our Gateway Getaway. And this week it's LaFleur's Bluff State Park within the city limits of Jackson. The folks at the museum may be vaguely familiar with LaFleur's Bluff. It's right outside your front door, isn't it?
It is, and it's a great park to visit. There are nature trails that connect the museum all the way over to LaFleur's Bluff State Park, where Mays Lake is. So you can hike between the two, see the Pearl River and Eubanks Creek along your way.
See, this is a bunch of professionals over at the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. It's no coincidence that's our Gateway Getaway this week, I have no doubt. It's open for year-round recreation, including hiking, picnicking, fishing, and boating. This 305-acre park, established on the banks of the Pearl River and Mays Lake back in the 18th century. They have 30 RV campsites, picnic spots, pavilions, nature trails, and fishing in the 50-acre Mays Lake, and easy access to the Museum of Natural Science as well. It's right there, basically. If you'd like to make a reservation, you can visit mdwfp.com. You can call 1-800-467-2757, or you can call the park itself at 601-987-3923. And don't forget, annual park permits still available. $50 gets you access to all of the state parks for an entire year, including LaFleur's Bluff State Park. If you'd like an annual park permit, 601-432-2219, the number to call. This week's Gateway Getaway, LaFleur's Bluff State Park. Now, we have Andrea Falsetto and Corey Wright in here from the Mississippi Museum of Natural Science, and we're talking about the program that you have for kids with disabilities. And I got to tell you something, guys. This is a fantastic program. I love this. Just on paper, I love it, because my mind goes to the faces of those kids, Corey. It's got to be the most rewarding thing in the world.
It is, and you don't know that you leave a mark on a person's life by doing something to you that seems so simple, but to them it's really big, and it just sparks. I mean, every time I do an event, I get really excited, and I just love what I do.
No, you would have to. I mean, that's you've got to go home at night after a day's work just grinning from ear to ear, I would think.
I smile anyway. It's normal.
He's a happy guy, Andrea.
I have to brag on him again. One of the young ladies we had that came to our first October session, Corey remembered her from when her school went on a field trip the year before. Very quiet girl, didn't talk a lot, so her mom had no idea and hadn't heard much about the field trip. And Corey was like, no, she was here with this school at this time, and her mom thought that was so great to hear and even get to experience the class with her that day, because she doesn't like to tell her mom what she does.
Yeah, that happens. If you're a parent, you know that happens sometimes. But those are the ones that sometimes will just fully blossom if you just give them a little bit of attention and positive reinforcement.
It is. It's just a little spark to get them going, basically.
You do the little things, and it leads to the big things. just about every single time. Now, what's the cost involved in this, Andrea?
This program is free for coalition members. The membership through them is only $25 a year, and they do have scholarships available if there's anyone that has a financial hardship and cannot afford the membership. But we did want to partner with them and make it free for their members.
And that's fantastic. So $25, and they get to participate in this whole thing.
Correct.
But with no other charge, no other expense. That's fantastic. Now, when does this happen? Is this like a particular day of the week, a particular time of the month? When is this?
It's mostly Sundays, once a month, and they can check the website. But we have the next event, which won't be at the museum. It'll be on Pelahatchie Shore Park, and the date of that one is November 15th. From 1 to about 4 o'clock.
Okay. Now, do you have like one a month? Is that how this works?
Yes.
Roughly?
Roughly once a month.
Once a month, you get together and they get to experience all these things. Now, Pelahatchie, that's the canoeing trip, right?
That is, yes.
That's going to be fun. That's going to be fun. Are you guys taking pictures?
Yes.
Okay. I would hope so, because we need to spread this around when this kind of thing happens. It's just fantastic. Now, all of the classes, when possible, as you said earlier, are outdoors, because that's the point of this, right?
Correct. Trying to get them outdoors.
And, Corey, I think you nailed it earlier when you said that the museum is probably the best-known, little-known secret that we have in the state of Mississippi. We have Nicole in here all the time, every so often. And you guys continuously have things going on. It's not just this, but every time somebody walks through the door, it's another big, exciting thing that you have going on that really deserves the attention, and I'm glad you brought this to our attention.
Right. And with COVID, we've even tried to do other things to bring people in and make it fun for them that aren't necessarily events. So right now we have the Ghoulish Gourd game, and we have hidden painted gourds throughout the museum, and children can walk through and try to count the number of gourds. There's a grand prize if they get pretty close to the exact number, and then there's a participation prize. And we've seen a lot of families having a good time, confusing each other with the number they've counted. Oops, have we counted that one? Have we not? Our own director only found, let's say he was off by 10 his first walk through.
Oh, wow.
So.
Wow. And okay, where did the painted gourds come from? Who painted them?
They were from a previous event, and then staff painted the rest that we had left over that we had been saving for years, never knowing when we were going to need them.
You guys literally had an office gourd painting party.
Correct.
They did. I couldn't stay inside the lines.
Are you taking applications? Because it sounds like the best place to work on planet Earth.
You might have to get rid of Corey, but then we can talk.
No, I can't do that. He's too nice. Look at him. No, nobody would ever run Corey off. Come on. But that is one of the features of this that I think is important, is that you guys, through this whole program, it's the same staff every time. It's the same people. So when these kids get there, there are no introductions to be made. It's it's Mr. Corey. They know Mr. Corey, and they know everybody that's there, so they can kind of form a relationship, I would think, right?
Yeah, and it's you form bonds with these kids, because I see them outside of, even at a store, and when we do school or classroom programs, I always see the kids, and they get excited about any education program we do.
Darren and Jackson on the C Spire text line has a question. I'm pretty sure you can answer this, Andrea. He says, "Can I play the gourd game too?"
Yes.
See, that's an easy answer. That's for anybody that comes.
I thought it was going to be a question about penguins.
No, we're building up to that. Somebody actually sent us a picture of a giant penguin waving. So, yeah, they were saying hi to you. Like that. The penguin shirt is awesome. If you haven't been to supertalk.fm/watch, you're missing out. See, you thought this was a negative. It's a positive. You're doing great over there, Andrea. I'm telling you. Now, if somebody wants to be involved in this is an ongoing thing, and some folks may get the idea that, well, it's too late. We've already missed it. That's not the case. You can join in at any time, right?
Right.
Correct.
So this next one, even if you've never been to a single one before, you can still participate in this.
Still sign up.
But
As long as we have space available.
Well, that was my next question. How much space roughly do you have?
I would say we have between 10 and 15 spots left.
Okay, so you do still have some openings left in this, but they do have to sign up for it. And what's the process to do that?
They can find the registration link. It's actually just a Google form. It's on our website. The Disabilities Coalition has put it out. It's on both of our Facebook pages.
So
Look
everywhere.
forward to any of those places.
Everywhere,
Yeah,
basically. Everywhere you can find it. You can sign up so that you get a registered slot, and so they know you're coming because you're expecting these folks.
Correct.
When they sign up, and you want to be able to greet them and say, hey, I heard you were coming. Come on in. It's a great program. It's a great event. And it's just another sign of just how good the work is that's being done at the Museum of Natural Sciences. You guys do a fantastic job over there, and more people need to be aware of it, I think. And that's the purpose of having you in here today. That's why the guys got you over here, because it is a fantastic thing. Again, they can go sign up. They can find it on Facebook, apparently on every single page on Facebook from the list you were giving out there, Andrea. It's everywhere. And just sign up. That's it. And if you're a member of the coalition, it's free.
Correct.
And if you're not a member and you want to join, $25.
Right.
You can't beat that, especially for what, as Corey called it earlier, and he was exactly right, what's most likely a once-in-a-lifetime experience for a lot of these kids. So keep up the good work, guys. You're doing something awesome here. You really are.
Thank you.
Andrea, and keep wearing shirts with animals on them.
I will.
This is an important part. This is a piece of the puzzle, and it brings it all together really well. Want to thank both of them, Andrea Falsetto and Corey Wright, the Mississippi Museum of Natural Sciences. One more segment of Mississippi Outdoors Radio on the way, and it's coming up next. Welcome back, Mississippi Outdoors Radio, rejoined now by Major Chris Reed, Conservation Officer, and Russ Walsh, Wildlife Biologist. And we put it off until the last segment because I wanted to give it a few minutes, and we were running low on time in that first one. CWD, this is a concern. Hunting season is going. We've got the drop-off procedures and everything else. Let's talk about that very quickly, Russ.
Yeah, absolutely. So hunting season is underway. Bow season is, and gun season will start here pretty soon. We have 46 drop-off locations this year around the state. Folks are already using those from archery season, so thank you to those that have done that. But as gun season kicks off and harvest increases, please come and drop those samples off. It's so important. This disease is an important one from the standpoint of understanding and managing it. So, and the way that we can combat this disease is through hunters. So hunters, if go online. There's a guide that we have that has all the information about CWD, has all of the stuff about drop-off locations. It's online. All the information is right there online. So go find a place that you can drop a head off in a freezer. It only takes a few minutes, and you can check your results online. We hope, usually the way over the past couple of years, we've had sample results back in about a week's time frame, our process is streamlined. So from the time we pick your sample up to the time we get results back is about a week. So for those of you who want to hold the meat or whatever, we can get the results back pretty quick.
Very good, and it's so important. We saw in the results from last year that down in the south part of the state and the southeastern part of the state, not as many people bringing those samples in because they think, oh, that's a northwest Mississippi problem. It's not ours. But that's how you track the spread. You need those negative results in those areas where it's not at yet because that's how you catch it early, right?
That's right. Early detection is so critical. And you're right. South of I-20, but really south of 84, we need more samples for several reasons. One, we want to make sure that it's not already there, and if it is there, we want to find it early. And so the folks, everybody's done a great job across the state. We've received samples, but if there's a place that we really could use more samples, it is south of I-20. And so again, with the mandatory sample weekends as well as just the permanent freezers across the state, plenty of opportunity to get those samples to us this year.
Which is a nicer way of saying you've got no excuse.
Right. There's plenty of opportunity.
Yeah. Now, also, you've got the app. The app's going on for game checks.
Yeah, so the Game Check app is out there for turkeys. It's been there for a couple of seasons now. It's mandatory harvest reporting for turkeys. We also have it for deer. It's still voluntary, but you can check your deer online, and again, that data just helps us in managing the deer herd across the state. And so it takes about 30 seconds. You jump on the app, report your deer, and that data comes to us, and we're able to better have a handle on the harvest, what populations are doing, and what's going on from at really a county level.
And the WMA app is out there also, where people can check in before they go hunting a WMA. I know that last year we had reduced the opportunities for those paper cards. Is it still the same as it was last year?
That's right. So every WMA is going to have opportunity for a physical check station where you go fill out a card. But certainly the WMA check-in app is the way to go.
How much in advance can you do that? 24 hours?
You can
12
start.
Hours?
Yeah, that's right. You start the day of it.
Yeah. So I mean, when you're at the house and you still got service, and you're going at 4 or 5 in the next morning, and some of those areas don't have service, you can go ahead and log in, check in,
Right.
and you can check out. Once you do it on the app, you hit service again, it'll throw it into the whatever database service world. I don't even know, but it'll go where it needs to go, and you don't have to drive over 5 miles to put a card in a box. You just do it on your phone.
That's a good point. You may not know this off the top of your head from the text line. Are there any drop-off spots around Mcgee?
You look at the map.
We will
right
reference
here,
the drop-off
nearest
location
one.
map.
I see we have data with us.
Yes.
I like that.
So there's one in Jackson, there's one in Jeff Davis County, there's one in Jones County, one in Scott County. So all around you there's one in Copiah County. So all around him, not one directly in Simpson County, but there's drop-off locations all around him there in Simpson.
So a pretty short drive.
Yes.
That, and a lot of the after the first year, 2 years of dealing with it, I know in meetings we were looking at major travel thoroughfares, highways, trying to get them for people coming back to and from hunting camp on the weekends, drop it off.
Before we go, we're just about out of time. Mississippi Outdoors TV, this is the episode I'm excited about, falcon hunting on this episode.
Yeah, look, this is
Birds hunting birds.
The falconers and falconry is really a fascinating thing. We're going to run an article hopefully in the January-February edition of Mississippi Outdoors as well as on TV. But this is this goes back centuries really of using falconry to hunt. And we have some falconers in Mississippi, and it really is a really neat thing. So if you have not paid attention to it at all, it's cool.
That and jugfish and catfish on the Mississippi River this week. It'll be airing October 22nd, 7:30 p.m., and then again Saturday at 5:30 p.m., and that is all the time we have for Mississippi Outdoors Radio today. Gentlemen, enjoyed it as
Thanks,
always.
Dave.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
David.
Good to be
And
here.
we'll see you next week.